You are enjoying desire. Yes, 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 yes. Especially those not quite yet fulfilled desires, yes?
Yes.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. Well, we always begin there because that is what we most want you to come to the place of being able to say yes to and really meaning it. Because you are eternal beings, which means you will never stop identifying new desires. And source energy will never stop fulfilling those desires. And therefore you will never stop your expansion, which means you will always be in a state of expanding, which means there will always be that which is yet to manifest. And if you're not all right with that, then you're going to eternally be unhappy. So it is so helpful to just relax and say, I am where I am in this eternal state of expansion. And as you relax into the idea of never getting it done, but instead of eternally expanding, as you relax into the idea that you are source energy here in this physical body, you are an extension of what we call pure positive energy, because you are an extension of a source energy that is without resistance. In other words, you are an extension of a source energy that is a singular, if you will, vibration, meaning that there are not contradictory vibrations going on in that which is who you really are. So this non-resistant energy is pulsing within you. And what this gathering wants to talk about is, but where are you in vibrational relationship to what you have become? Every emotion that you feel, whether you call it joy or whether you call it despair, every emotion is about that relationship. When you feel despair, what that means is who you were before you were born and what life has caused you to become while you are in this physical body has caused the source energy part of you to be a particular vibration. And how you are approaching the subject of your life right now is now giving you vibrational feedback between those two vibrational points of relativity. So when you are feeling despair, what that means is your perspective of life right now has got you offering a vibration. It's sort of like beating a drum. I don't have enough money and no one loves me and things aren't going my way and I'm powerless. That's the despair sort of vibration. And as you're beating the drum of despair, you are activating a vibration within you that is so different from the vibration of empowerment and knowledge that is the source energy part of you, that you feel the emotional discord. So despair just means you're really vibrating off track from who you really are. Love and appreciation means you're right on track. When you look at someone and you love them and you feel that love welling up in you, that feeling that you're experiencing means that what you're choosing to focus upon and the vibration that is activated by your perspective is so in sync with the emotion of who you really are that you are utterly in alignment. So in every moment, you, physical genius you, with all of the freedom to focus wherever you want to, you can focus out of alignment or in alignment. And you can tell in every moment by the way you feel how you're doing. Now what happens to you as you are in your physical body is you are observing things around you. And many of you say, but Abraham, there are things that I observe, and when I observe them, they just feel awful. And we say, then don't observe them. And you say, but how can I not observe what's going on right under my nose or in the newspaper or on the television or on the other side of the world? How can I keep my nose out of all of that when there are realities happening all around me? I feel I should give my attention to the things that are real. And we say, if you say, I'm going to give my attention to the things that are real, or I'm going to give my attention to the things that are true. A lot of true things happening. Cancer's true. Terrorism's true. Bombs dropping on cities. It's true. So if you use truth as your criteria of that which you are going to give your attention to, then you may very well often find yourselves in vibrational discord to the way your source is looking at things. We would use a different criteria for that which we are choosing to give our attention to. And the criteria would be, how does it feel? Which means, I'm going to try to look at you. I'm going to try to look at this. I'm going to try to look at the world through the eyes of source. I'm going to try to see it as source sees it. And we want you to understand that source sees it as non-resistant. Source does not see your sickness. Source knows your wellness and holds the vibrational equivalent of wellness as a standard for you to reach for. So when you look at illness and you feel afraid, you've chosen a different standard. You've chosen some statistic. You've chosen some truth. You've chosen some x-ray. You've chosen someone's word. You've chosen the reality of what is as your reason to give your attention to it. But source doesn't, because if source were looking at it exactly as you're looking at it, you wouldn't feel the separation between you and source. And negative emotion is your indication of your temporary separation. Too strong of word, but you get the point. You're looking at it differently than source does. We want you to begin to let the current carry you. But before you can do that, you have to sort of trust that it's going to carry you to a place that you want to be. And that's so easy for us to say to you because we know what is making the current. We know that it is all of the ideas that you held as non-physical source energy. And we know it's all of the brilliant ideas that your life has caused you to want. You cannot live in a situation without, from your personal, selfish, yes, point of view, desiring something that is beneficial to you. And if it is beneficial to you, then source says yes to it. And as source says yes to it and you allow yourself to go with it, now you begin to thrive. If you would just say, I am where I am, and relax and stop the battle of fighting against where you are, the stream would begin to carry you right away toward the fulfillment of what you're asking for. And that's why we ask you the question as we began. Those unfulfilled desires are still pleasing you? And you lied and said yes. But we want you to say, yes, those unfulfilled desires are pleasing me because I know that they're downstream and I know that the current is taking me there. And I know that it's not a question of if I will achieve them, it's only a matter of when. And the current is flowing and meanwhile I'm having a glorious time on this river. That's the attitude that we want you to have about your magnificent life here in this physical experience. We've been talking to a lot of you for quite a long time, and you're really getting the hang of this and you're working to feel as good as you can feel, but you still have the attitude that if I'm here, I'm in a place I shouldn't be, so I should darn well get myself over here as quickly as I can. And we say, sure, you'll feel better when you get here, but this is the thing that we want today to mean to you. If you're here or anywhere along there, if you'll just stop pushing that way, in other words, drop the oars, the current will turn you, and the current will begin to carry you. And friends, that is where the relief factor happens. In other words, in the moment that you stop the struggle, you're going to feel the relief. And the relief will compound itself as the stream will carry you, and it will, we promise you, closer and closer to where you want to be. So why do you point out those who are wrong and rail against them when all you have to do is say, you might want to write this down, it's profound. You're laughing at profound? They've seen us coming. I am where I am. I am where I am, but feel what we're saying to you. I am where I am, and where I am is just fine. I am where I am, because in it being all right, I've stopped paddling against the stream. In it being all right, I've relaxed into the current. In it being all right, the current will take me because, friends, that current was going before you came into this body. That current adores you. That current knows your worthiness. That current, that source energy current, that source energy that is you has become more because of you. There is unconditional love being flowed to you by source energy. Source never stops calling you. The call is always there. The call is always there. The question is, can you hear the call? I don't think I can. The call of source should sound like harps and angels, shouldn't it? Well, Jerry and Esther have noticed as they are moving around, flowing in their bus, loving life, loving each other, loving their work, loving the birds, loving the streams. They drove down the Columbia River Gorge. Esther thought she would die as she drove. It was so beautiful. Perfect day, perfect weather, the color of the river, long, long river. It followed the road for hundreds of miles. And as they were in that state of appreciation, just the slightest attention to something else that they loved would send them right over the edge into rapturous emotion of well-being. So if you are somewhere in the vibrational proximity of alignment with Source and you find yet another thing to focus upon that makes you feel wonderful, oh, it does feel like harps and angels. Yes, it does. Call of Source. But if you're in despair, the call of Source sounds like revenge. If you're in revenge, the call of Source sounds like rage. If you're in rage, the call of Source sounds like anger, and then less anger, and then overwhelmment and frustration, and then hoping, and then believing, and then knowing, and then joy. In other words, it's relative. It's relative. And the thing that is messing so many of our human friends up is that they are trying to weigh and evaluate and compare the circumstances of life, the conditions of life. We understand why you would do that. You look out and you see something that makes you feel wonderful and you say, oh, I would support that. I will promote that. I'll put my time and energy and money behind something like that because I approve and agree with that. And then you look over there at something that you don't want and you say, oh, I want not that. And what most of our physical human friends do not understand is that when you say yes to something that you like, you activate a vibration of it within you, and law of attraction brings more of it to you. But when you look at something you don't like and you yell no at it, you activate the vibration of it, which means law of attraction brings it to you. This is a universe based on vibration. It is a universe based on inclusion. There's no exclusion in a vibrational universe that is based upon law of attraction. Which means when you see something, whatever it is, and you give it your attention long enough, you will activate it within your vibration. And when you activate it within your vibration, not only does your point of attraction become affected by the activation, but the way you feel is affected by it. So what did we just say to you? We're going to say something to you we have not said before. So source energy, that larger part of who you have become, is offering a powerful vibration of well-being that is attracting well-being to you. And if you let that be the vibration of your being, then only well-being can come. But you can hold yourself in resistance to it. But only you can hold yourself in resistance to it. Only you. Isn't that good to know? You're in total control because you have guidance that lets you know how you feel. And little by little, no matter what your beliefs are, you can begin to bridge them or modify them so that you become more of a perfect vibrational match to how Source sees life through your eyes. As humans, do you know sometimes you're sick and you want to be well and you can't figure out how to get there, and so you let them pronounce you terminal? And we say, they can't possibly know about vibration. They can't possibly know that the inner part of you is over there living the wellness that your life has caused you to ask for, and that if you had just let go of those oars and stop paddling upstream and trust in the wellness of your being that is mostly already achieved, you got no choice, friends, but to go with the flow. You just got to let yourself go with the flow, and when you do, in the moment that you let go, you'll feel the relief, and off you go. We are eager to talk with you about anything that you want to talk about. There is nothing that is off limits here. You could say, we know what you want. You could say, we are the non-physical embodiment of that which you want. And we will use every trick in our bag of tricks. There are no tricks, just logic and knowing, to call you through the path of least resistance for you into alignment with what you've been asking for. That's our work, and that's the promise we made to you when we're all hanging out in non-physical. You say, well, Abraham, if physical is so good, then why aren't you here with us? Part of that which we are is here with you. That's like saying, so there's electricity in my house and I have this toaster and I'm going to plug the toaster into the electricity and I'll have the current to toast the bread. And then you say to the electricity, why aren't you a toaster?